Before anything existed, before light learned how to travel, before time had a direction, before silence had something to echo against. There was God. That sentence sounds simple. Almost too simple. But if you sit with it, really sit with it, it starts to unsettle you. Because the question creeps in, quietly at first. Where was God before creation? Not, what did he do? Not, what did he make? But where was he when there was nowhere to be? Tonight, we're stepping into a question most people avoid. Not because it isn't important, but because it feels dangerous. A question that stretches faith, bends language, and humbles the mind. Where was God? Before everything. Most of us were taught to imagine God floating somewhere in darkness, as if the universe was an empty room, and God was standing in the corner, waiting to turn the lights on. But that picture lapses the moment you think about it, because darkness itself is a thing. Space is a thing. Time is a thing. And Scripture says God created all of them. So before creation, there was no darkness for God to stand in. No space to occupy. No time to wait through. Genesis doesn't begin with God entering the universe. It begins with God speaking it into existence. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Not in the beginning, God arrived. But in the beginning, God acted, which means God did not come from somewhere into creation. Creation came from him. This is where the question shifts from geography to being. Ancient Jewish scholars noticed something strange about the first line of Genesis. The phrase "in the beginning doesn't necessarily mean the start of time the way we imagine it. It can also mean at the source or from the origin. In other words, creation didn't begin outside God. It began from God. The Bible quietly suggests something radical. God did not exist inside reality. Reality exists inside God. That idea echoes through Scripture if you listen closely. Psalm 90 says, "Before the mountains were born, or you brought forth the whole world. From everlasting to everlasting, you are God. Not from point A to point B, but from everlasting to everlasting. No start, no end." Theologians later gave this a name not to explain it away, but to admit defeat. Take a dead God eternal. But eternal doesn't mean very old. It means outside the system entirely, like an author isn't trapped inside the pages of their book. The story moves forward, but the writer stands beyond the timeline, able to enter any chapter at will. If time is a river, God is not floating in it. He is standing on the shore, and the river flows because he wills it to. So where was God before creation? He was not before in the way we understand before, because before only exists after time exists. This is where modern physics accidentally begins to whisper what Scripture has been saying for thousands of years. Physicists now tell us that time itself began at the Big Bang. There was no before the beginning, because before requires time. Stephen Hawking once said, asking what came before the universe is like asking what's north of the North Pole. The question breaks down, and yet faith goes further. Because the Bible doesn't say God existed before time. It says God created time, which means God's existence doesn't move forward 1 second at a time like ours. He doesn't wait. He doesn't rush. He doesn't react late. Simply is. When God introduces himself to Moses, he doesn't give a name that fits neatly into human grammar. I am, not I was, not I will be. I am. Eternal presence. So where was God before creation? He was fully himself. Complete. Lacking nothing. This matters more than we realize, because it means God didn't create the world out of loneliness. He didn't need an audience. He didn't need validation. Christian theology teaches something astonishing here. Before creation, there was already relationship. Father, Son, Spirit. Not boredom, not silence, but love. Jesus hints at this in John 17 when he says, "Father, you loved me before the foundation of the world, before stars burned, Before angels sang, before humanity breathed, there was love. So creation wasn't God trying to fill a void. Creation was overflow. Like a song so full, it spills into sound. Like light bursting from a source that cannot stay hidden. God didn't create because he needed us. He created because love expresses itself. This reframes everything. If God existed in perfect fullness before creation, then your existence is not an accident, not a test run, not a backup plan. You are intentional overflow. Still, the question lingers because we want coordinates. Where was God? And Scripture gives a surprising answer, not with a location, but with a role. Colossians says, "In him all things hold together." Not around him, not near him. In him. Paul tells the philosophers in Athens, "In him we live and move and have our being." That means reality is not a stage God steps onto. Reality is something God sustains moment by moment. Remove God, not figuratively, but truly, an existence collapses. So before creation, God was not waiting in emptiness. There was no emptiness. There was only being itself. Pure, uncreated existence. This is where the question turns personal. Because if God is not bound by time, then he didn't just exist before creation. He exists now in a way we can't fully grasp, which means God didn't only see the beginning. He sees the end and the middle. And this exact moment you're in, your prayers don't travel forward in time to reach him. They are already present to him. Your pain doesn't catch him off guard. Your future doesn't surprise him. This doesn't make God distant. It makes him terrifyingly close. Closer than memory. Closer than breath. So where was God? Before creation, he was God without need, without limit, without beginning. And then he chose to create. Not because he had to, but because love shares existence, which leads to the final, unsettling thought. If God existed in fullness before creation and chose to step into time anyway, then the cross was not a reaction. It was always part of the story. Revelation calls Jesus the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world, meaning God knew what creation would cost him. And he still spoke, "Let there be." So maybe the real question isn't where God was before creation. Maybe it's why he created it all. And the answer echoes quietly through eternity. Because love existed first, and love wanted to be known. And now, you exist inside that choice. Set with that. But